Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of my Pokemon Battle Series, The School of Hard Knocks. So throughout this episode, like every other, we'll be jumping onto the Pokemon Global Link Battle Spot ladder, playing under the Championship Battle rules, which are the equivalent rule set of the VGC 2017 season. So, we kind of kicked off the week yesterday with a brand new team, and this double dark core with Alolan Marowak, Alolan Ninetails, Kartana and Tapu Fini. The double dark core being Mandibuzz and Muk that we've kind of built around, and we'll take that into today's episode. Hopefully have a couple of really good games and provide some really good content for you guys. So we had a bit of a shaky start yesterday playing that crazy Warlord team. But we'll forget about that. We kind of rounded off the episode yesterday with a win, so that was alright. We kind of maneuvered ourselves around. But we have our first opponent already from Italy, which is amazing. So, my opponent is running a team of Porygon 2, Mudsdale, Hariyama, Mimikyu, Tokol, and Tapu Bulu. So, pretty interesting team here. Obviously, very Trick Room orientated. You've got the Trick Room set as in Porygon 2, Mimikyu, so we need to be very careful of that. He can take advantage of the fake out with the Hariyama. We don't have, unfortunately, any Tapu Lele in this team to prevent that. It's going to be difficult because we need to, with the fake out support, we may not be able to stop the Trick Room going up, so we've got to kind of play with that in mind. It's obviously got the Tall Call in there that'll take real advantage of the Trick Room once that's set up, along with that Mudsdale. It'll be doing big damage to things like Marowak that I've got and Alolan Muk. And that Tapu Bulu that'll put a lot of pressure onto my Tapu Lele as well. So how can we go about sorting this out? I think I do like Mandibuzz here because it does have Taunt, and if we can get the Psychic Seed activated on it, it'll just give it a bit more longevity as well. So I think I'm going to lead with my Tapu Fini, my Mandibuzz. I do like my Marowak here, although we have to be, like I said, very careful at Mudsdale. And what was my last Pokemon going to be? I think I'm going to have to bring the Muk as my last one. This is a bit slower than my other options that I've got on the Kartana and the Ninetails, so hopefully it'll just operate a bit better under Trick Room. Like I said, I'm kind of wanting to go into this match with the mindset that my opponent is going to get the Trick Room up. So we will try and stop it if my opponent does go for it, but sometimes under circumstances like this where they've got the fake out support and you've not really got too many options to get around it, you've just got to kind of go with it and just hopefully play out those turns and then not allow the Trick Room to get set up again. So we'll lead off with Tapu Fini and Mandibuzz. We will get the Misty Seed activated on the Mandibuzz, so just boosting our special defense, which will just give us a bit more longevity against that Torkoal. My opponent leading with the Torkoal and the Mimikyu here. So no fake out support, but we do have to be careful of obviously the mental herb on that Mimikyu, which from how my opponent's led, could have quite easily led with that Hariyama, kind of indicating that it probably is holding the mental herb. So what am I going to do? I think even though there is every possibility that he will be carrying the mental herb, we've still got to go for the Taunt, and I think I'm just going to go Taunt, and I'm going to go Calm Mind with my Tapu Fini and just boost up my defenses a bit. So we see the Torkoal on my opponent's end go for that Protected to try and get the Trick Room set up. We will get a Calm Mind off, which will just be boosting the defenses of my Tapu Fini going into these next few turns, and we'll see if this Taunt activates the mental herb or not. I'd imagine it will. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, under the assumption, but just in case he didn't have the mental herb, it was worth kind of going for that anyway. So we are in a Trick Room now. We're not in the best of positions, but what we can do is, I think I'm going to go for a Roost with my Mandibuzz, and I'm just going to go for a Muddy Water with my Tapu Fini here, just to break the disguise on the Mimikyu, get a bit of damage onto the Torkoal. And hopefully, like I say, we can roost off most of the damage from the eruption that I expect to come out from this Torkoal this turn. And we just got to kind of set ourselves up to get through these Trick Room turns and then make sure that we're not allowing that Mimikyu to get another Trick Room up potentially later in the game. We also have to keep in mind that Porygon 2 could be in the back, so that might come in. So it's quite important to make sure that we're kind of keeping Mandibuzz on the field for as long as we can. With the special defensive boost that we've had, we should be able to do that. But we're going to see a big heat wave come out from the Torkoal. Both my Pokemon take it quite comfortably. We do get the roost off with our Mandibuzz, just to recover that little bit of damage that we've done there, and we'll see what this Mimikyu is going to go for. We are actually outspeeding the Mimikyu, so that is quite good knowledge to kind of take into this next turn. We did really good damage on that Torkoal, especially after the Calm Mind boost, and get an accuracy drop as well, so that's great. Destroy the disguise on the Mimikyu, even better. So it's setting us up very nicely going into this next turn. We see my opponent just reverse the Trick Room here, which is... okay, I don't quite understand that turn, but maybe my opponent has some sort of plan going into this next turn to take advantage of that. So what I'm going to do is just go for a foul play. I'm not going to worry about going for another taunt into that slot. And again, I am just going to go for a Muddy Water into the Mimikyu and Torkoal, and hopefully that will be enough to kind of pick up the KO onto the Mimikyu, even though the sun is out on the field, as long as it hits, obviously. So we do get the Muddy Water onto the Mimikyu. Should be doing, with the sun out as well, it's not doing too much damage, but we do get that accuracy drop, and it looks as though my opponent is going for another Trick Room again. So we could have potentially stopped it. Okay. So I'm just going to go the same again. I'm just going to go for a foul play into the Mimikyu slot and just another Muddy Water with my Tapu Fini here, which should be enough to pick up the KO onto the Torkoal. We have had accuracy drops on both my opponent's Pokemon, so that is helping, but it won't help against this big Z move from the Torkoal. So this looks like a Bloom Doom as well. It is a Bloom Doom, so this is going to be going into my Tapu Fini slot. With that Calm Mind boost that we've had, we should be able to take this though, so I'm not too worried about getting KO'd here. It's not stabbed, and yeah, so we take that quite comfortably. We do see a Muddy play rough from the Mimikyu. It does miss, unfortunately, for my opponent into my Tapu Fini. But again, I don't think it would have been enough to pick up the KO there. Our Muddy Water unfortunately misses the Torkoal, but we will be able to hit the Mimikyu, and oh, just missed the KO there. But we do get another accuracy drop on the Mimikyu, which is huge. So we're still sitting in a nice position here. In this turn, I think I am going to go for the foul play again to that Mimikyu slot, and I am just going to Muddy Water again with my Tapu Fini. My opponent could go for a Solar Beam here, but we're in a nice position to be able to take that, so I'm in no threat here of being KO'd by either Pokemon on my opponent's end of the field. We do see a Solar Beam from that Torkoal. Will fire off into the Tapu Fini, but it won't be it'll probably do about 50% of what that Z move did. Yeah, so we take that nice and comfortably. We do see a light screen though from the Mimikyu. We go for the foul play. That will pick up the KO onto the Mimikyu. And hopefully a Muddy Water hits here, which should clear the field of that Torkoal. Yeah, so even though you got the light screen up, because the Muddy Water is now a single target attack, it's kind of negating the light screen almost from a double target to a single target. So just being enough there to pick up the KO. Our Misty Terrain does disappear from the field, and I think we're going into the last turn of Trick Room now. So it'll be interesting to see what my opponent has these last two Pokemon. And it is the Tapu Bulu and the Mudsdale. Okay. So what I want to do here is stall out this last turn of Trick Room with my Tapu Fini, just protect it for one turn. Or is it worth switching out? Because it might be nice. Actually, no. What I'll do is go for a... I'm going to go for a Tailwind with my Mandibuzz, and I'm just going to go for a Protect with my Tapu Fini here. because my Tapu Fini might go down this next turn, and then at least I've got the Tailwind up. Once the Trick Room ends, I can bring Marowak in. It's going to start threatening the Tapu Bulu quite heavily here. So we see Rock Slide from the Mudsdale. We don't get flinch, get the Tailwind off, and the Tapu Bulu there just went for a Wood Hammer into the Tapu Fini's Protect. So this should be the end of Trick Room now. After all the recovery, we get recovery. Oh no, there is one more turn of... Okay, so definitely miscalculating that. Now I am going to have to kind of maneuver myself around here. What I'm going to do is bring in my Muk. I don't think there's any threat of the Mudsdale going for an Earthquake. I think he's better off going for the Rock Slide on these turns. So the Mudsdale actually goes for a Heavy Slam into the Mana Buzz, not opting for the Rock Slide this turn, and we see a Wood Hammer come out into the Muk, doing huge damage. And now the Trick Room should end this turn. That Wood Hammer will activate our Figgy Berry. And we'll get a Roost off with our Mana Buzz here. So we are still threatened from this Mudsdale. And the dimensions turn back to normal. So what I might do here is just go for I'll go for a Foul Play into the Mudsdale, and I totally expect my opponent to protect the Tapu Bulu this turn. So just to kind of prevent any high horsepower damage onto my Muk, I'm going to protect my Muk and just bear out the protect on the Tapu Bulu. So there we go. So this next turn I can go into it and attack straight into it with a Poison Jab. Once that's off the field, then Tapu Fini can come back in and start doing some work on the Mudsdale to kind of close the match. So we get a big Foul Play onto the Mudsdale. We do activate that stamina ability, and it does go for a high horsepower into my Muk. But now we're free to go for... My opponent really has to go for the double protect into the Bulu, so as long as he doesn't get that, we should be able to get the Poison Jab off onto the Tapu Bulu, pick up the KO there, and we can just continue to Foul Play into the Mudsdale, and I'll go for a Poison Jab into the Tapu Bulu here. Muk should be able to take a high horsepower anyway. It should be EV to take that. So we get another Foul Play into the Mudsdale. We are going to get the Poison Jab into the Tapu Bulu, and this should be enough to pick up the KO. Yeah. So that's the Tapu Bulu down, and now we've only got the Mudsdale to worry about. So we do take a high horsepower to our Muk. Like I say, we should. Yeah, we just take that. So those EV spreads coming in clutch there, just hanging on, and now we're going into the last turn. So we should be able to pick up a KO with the Foul Play, and I'll go Foul Play, and I will go Knock Off as well, and we'll get rid of whatever item that Mudsdale is holding. So get the Foul Play off with the Mana Buzz, and yeah, we'll put it just into probably Knock Off range. It's sitting on +3 now, and we'll see what item that Mudsdale has on it. Will we or not? Yeah, so it did have the Assault Vest, and very good game to my opponent there, extremely well played, and a very enjoyable game to kickstart this episode, and a good win. So we'll take that, and we will move on to game 2, and hopefully kind of just repeat that and end up the day with some better success than yesterday. Hopefully we don't see any Warlord teams in this next one, although I feel a bit more comfortable kind of playing against the Warlord team now. Like I was saying in yesterday's episode, I was like, I knew about the team, but I didn't really know, I hadn't looked too closely at how the inner workings of it and the standard EV spreads and stuff like that. So let's put Galadian on this time. So yeah, I think going into that match again, I'd definitely approach it a lot differently. But as the bell strikes, we have our next opponent from the USA, and they are running a team of Arachnoid, Garchomp, Talonflame, Magnezone, Mimikyu, and Tapu Lele. So, what are we going to do here? Kartana is really nice here. It puts a lot of pressure onto the Tapu Lele. It hits the Mimikyu for good damage, Garchomp for good damage, Magnezone for good damage, Arachnoid for good damage. We just need to be super careful of that Talonflame that can outspeed and can hit us with those super effective fire type moves. So, how am I going to approach this? My opponent doesn't really have any speed control outside that Talonflame, so the Tailwind. Oh, well, no, he does. I do lie. He does have the Mimikyu, so he's got a switch there. He's got a Tailwind mode with the Talonflame and a Trick Room mode with the Mimikyu. And I'd imagine he'd probably be more inclined to go for the Trick Room mode with that Mimikyu. I definitely need to bring my Marowak here. And I think I will bring Kartana as well. But Kartana is maybe better for a late game sweep. I don't know how much use Mandibuzz is going to be here. Mandibuzz, yeah. Is Mandibuzz going to be the best choice here? Right, we'll lock in. We'll bring those four. We'll bring the Kartana as the last one to kind of hopefully keep it in the back until very late game when all speed control is being taken care of and we can bring it in and just start sweeping up with it. It's going to be outspeeding the majority of things in my opponent's team. So obviously depending on whether that's Tapu Lele is scarfed or not, but hopefully we can kind of determine that earlier on in the match, and they're the things that we kind of need to be looking out for. So we're going to lead off with our standard Mandibuzz Tapu Fini lead and see my opponent lead off with that Talonflame Magnezone lead. So what are we going to do? I think I'm quite safe here to... I am just going to foul play into the Talonflame slot. Do I want... Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to match the Tailwind because I imagine this Talonflame to go for a Tailwind here. So I'm going to go for the Tailwind and I'm going to switch in my Marowak on my Tapu Fini slot, just to protect my Mandibuzz from any incoming electric type attacks. So let's see how we get on with this. And then by matching the Tailwind, at least we should be putting a lot of pressure onto that Magnezone this next turn with our Marowak. We're not really too threatened from the opposing Talonflame. We have to be careful, obviously, of the Brave Birds that may be coming out with. But then at least our Mandibuzz is kind of sitting quite safe on the field with the Marowak next to it. But my opponent opts to switch out his Magnezone very cleverly. Talonflame going for a Protect here. And Mandibuzz, we will get the Tailwind up, but we're sitting in not a great position. That was a very good switch from my opponent, bringing the Arachnoid in that slot. So I think here what I will do is he going to protect that Arachnoid? Is he going to protect it and then set up a Tailwind of his own with the Talonflame? I think what I'm going to do is just go for a foul play into the Talonflame, and I'm going to bring back in my Tapu Fini here, because I really need to preserve that Marowak for later in the game. Because without the Marowak, the Magnezone can just kind of run riot through my team. So I need to really preserve that for later in the game. So I will bring in my Tapu Fini here. We'll see what my opponent goes for this turn. Withdraws the Talonflame and brings in the Tapu Lele. So he will change and get the Psychic Terrain back up on the field. And we'll see what this Arachnoid goes for. Do get the foul play into the Lele. It isn't going to be doing very much damage at all. And we see a Liquidation come out onto the Tapu Fini slot, which we take not too bad. Not the worst. I think I'm going to start Calm Minding up here and just take advantage of that. I am going to go for a foul play into this Arachnoid. At the moment, it is causing me a lot of problems for my Marowak to come in and start operating. But if I can start getting Calm Minds up, at least we're kind of giving ourselves a bit of leg room against this Tapu Lele that'll be firing off big psychic attacks, potentially with the Psychic Terrain up here. So we have got the Tailwind up, so we are kind of still in a not too bad position. We have one more turn of Tailwind to go. this turn, and then it will end. So let's see what my opponent goes for. So my opponent withdrawing the Arachnoid, sending in that Magnezone. Now if it is the Sturdy ability, we will be breaking that ability this turn with the Foul Play onto it. We're just going to get a Calm Mind up on our Tapu Fini. So do get the Foul Play onto the Magnezone. And we see a Psychic come out onto my Tapu Fini from the Tapu Lele. Do get a Special Defense drop, which is a bit unfortunate. Right, so the thing is, I don't expect my opponent to expect my opponent to maybe not go for a electric type attack, kind of thinking that I will switch in that Marowak. So he may opt to go for a Flash Cannon instead, and we can catch him out this way by kind of doubling into this Magnezone. So I am going to just go for a Muddy Water with my Tapu Fini. We may lose Tapu Fini here, but we do have the Kartana in the back, so we do have that as a backup. If we can get a Muddy Water off here, it does hit both my opponent's Pokemon, so this is huge. Nice, we get some big damage off onto both things. Yeah, and get a good accuracy drop onto this Magnezone, followed up by a Foul Play from the Mandibuzz. And let's see what this... So, yeah, we get the Psychic from the Tapu Lele, and we'll see what this Magnezone goes for now. It's going for the Z move, so it is the Gigavolt Havoc, which probably will pick up the KO, which isn't ideal, to be honest, because then it's a bit annoying, because switching in the Marowak in that situation, although it was very obvious, it would have definitely been the better play for the Mandibuzz there, and we would have wasted the Z move. But in hindsight, wow, and we actually survive. So that is insane. That is actually insane. Okay, what I'm going to do is bring my Katana in here, because I can put big pressure onto that Tapu Lele straight away. Or is that Tapu Lele scarfed, maybe? Can't be scarfed. No, can't be scarfed. Can't be scarfed. So I am going to bring in my Marowak for my Mandibuzz, and I'm going to go for a Smart Strike into the Tapu Lele here, just to clear the field of that. We may see an Arachnoid come in on that slot, but at least by switching the Marowak in, the Magnezone can't go for any electric type attacks. If it does, it's going to be drawn in by that Lightning Rod, and at least we kind of have the comfort knowing that Flash Cannon isn't going to be doing super effective damage to either my Pokemon, and hopefully he doesn't carry some mem like Hidden Power Fire as well, which would not be cool. So we do get the Smart Strike off onto the Tapu Lele, which is nice. Fingers crossed we don't see a Hidden Power Fire from the Magnezone, which would not be cool. We get the Beast Boost with our Kartana, which is nice. And yeah, just a Flash Cannon, but because of that accuracy drop earlier, Magnezone misses, which is super unfortunate for my opponent, but we will take that. So we do see the Talonflame come back in now. We'll get a special defense boost through that. So I think what I'm going to do is just go for a Shadowbone into the Talonflame with my Marowak, and I'm just going to protect my Kartana here. So I wonder if my opponent here will bring in the Arachnoid and go for a Tailwind. If he does, it's going to have to be a super speedy Arachnoid to kind of take advantage of that as well, because its base speed's so low. Talonflame goes for a Tailwind. Yeah, as expected. We get the Shadowbone off onto the Talonflame, which is nice. And we do see a Hidden Power come out from the Magnezone. So that is Hidden Power Ground, I think. Okay. So we're in a bit of a situation now where My opponent's really put himself in a really good position because by us allowing him to get the Tailwind up now, that Magnezone will be outspeeding my Marowak. So we'll be able to get the KO onto my Marowak with another Hidden Power Ground, which is super unfortunate because his Talonflame will be able to pick up a KO onto my Kartana. I think all I can really do is switch around my Pokemon here. Switching my Mandibuzz for my Kartana, protect my Marowak. But I don't think things are looking very good for us right now. So we get the Protect off with the Marowak. See the Flare Blitz come out from the Talonflame into the Mandibuzz slot. That will pick up the KO. And we're just going to see another Hidden Power Ground, I think, into the Marowak. So we are back to square one, which is not ideal at all. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Kind of need a double protect here, really. But then we're just back in square one. Well, not really, because we just need to get rid of the Talonflame, to be honest. I think I'm going to have to just go for a Shadowball and this is a disaster. Yeah, I'm just going to go for a Smart Strike into the Talonflame, even though we're probably going to go down, to a Flare Blitz here. So this is where Sash Kartana would be ideal, but we're not running that, unfortunately. Super annoying, but very well played from my opponent, waiting for the right moment to get that Tailwind set up, and then taking full advantage of that. Totally catching me off guard, and just I'm not expecting that right at the last minute after we had such a nice start to the game as well. But very good game to my opponent, and that's a bit unfortunate, so ending with a bit of a loss there. But what we'll do, guys, we'll call it a day there. We've had a couple of really good games. I am going to make a point now of going away, playing off camera, and just getting my ranking up so we can find some stronger opponents. I might even look at the team when I'm going through those matches just to see if there's anything we can tweak. If we do, we'll come back with a team review episode and we'll go through those changes. But if not, we'll just be back tomorrow as usual with another episode of the School of Hard Knocks, and later on from there we'll have another episode of our QR code series. So stay tuned for that, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like. All the support that I've had over the past couple of days has been amazing. So welcome to all the new subscribers who've got to the channel, and it's just a bit overwhelming. Obviously, we've got Francesco to thank for a lot of that, so big shout outs to him. He's an absolute top guy. And if you're not subscribed to the channel and you're watching this for the first time, do subscribe. We have a lot of content coming out. We have our daily uploads every day from Monday to Friday, the School of Hard Knocks. And we normally change teams, so we normally have like a new team every 2 weeks that I'll build, and then we kind of tweak it along the way and make changes to that and just kind of adapt to things that we're a bit weak to. So it's good for you guys to see how we're kind of looking at how the team's performing initially in the metagame, and then looking at how we can change it and tweak it as we go through, and hopefully that's beneficial for you guys. We also have a QR code series that features all of the top rated QR code teams from some of the best VGC players from around the world. We have a team review episodes like I just mentioned, where we kind of do the review of the team, and sometimes pull up little quick ones where we do reviews and little tweaks while we're still playing with the team. So we have all of that going on, so do subscribe and you'll get all the updates for when they come out. But guys, until tomorrow, you go away, have a great night, and I will see you later. Oh, one final thing. I did get a request through for a Facebook page, and I haven't got one, and weirdly enough, but it is in the process of being finalised now. So hopefully I'll be able to kind of announce that tomorrow, and I will, as soon as it is, I'll let you guys know so you can come and join the group. And I will put a link in the description and obviously in the the details about the channel as well. So I will let you guys know as soon as that is done, but it is being sorted as we speak. So without dragging this on any longer, guys, you go on, have a good night, take care of yourselves, and until tomorrow, I will see you later. So until then, bye bye.